Okay, be honest. You've looked at those fancy sound panels online, saw the price tag, 200 to 300 bucks each, and thought, yeah, my Echo can stay. Well, I did too, until I just decided to build them myself. At first I thought, okay, easy, wood, insulation, fabric, boom, done, see you in the next video. But me being me, I had to overcomplicate it. So today I'm gonna show you how I built 9 professional grade acoustic panels for around $300 instead of the $1,500 it would have cost me if I bought them retail. We're talking insulation, wood, fabric, everything, and yes, I'll also show you the very first design that completely failed before I changed it. I'll first go and talk about the materials I used, then I'll show you and explain to you how I built them, what it cost me, and finally how they look. So grab your tools and let's build some panels that actually work without destroying your wallet or your apartment walls. At first, I wanted to make something super lightweight, classic design. Small wood frame, insulation, fabric over it, but since I rent this place, I didn't want to drill huge holes into every wall just to hold those heavy wooden frames. Then I remembered a video from DIY Perks, the guy who makes literal works of art all by himself. Well, in his video, he built panels using 90 degrees aluminum angles. It's brilliant. Super light, super sleek, easy peasy. So I thought, why not? I went to Home Depot and the first problems arrived. I explained it in my studio update video, but while it's still possible to make DIY Perks approach today, the different materials used in his video went really high in cost. This would have meant that his $5 panel would have cost me like $10 or $15 each because of that price increase, using the materials he suggested. However, with my work, we go on construction sites, and I see a lot of stuff there. Maybe too much sometimes. Anyway, when they install drywall, so the walls basically everywhere now, they install a metal angle to help the smoothness of the angles of the wall. That's why your room has 90 degrees or 70 degrees corners instead of just rugged shapes all around the edges. It's impossible to perfectly cut the drywall so that two pieces join perfectly together. So they use this. And it's cheap. So I got a few metal angles, some bolts, nylon nuts, and started building. I said to myself, this is gonna be genius. Spoiler, it wasn't. I then cut the metal angle into 6 2-foot pieces, added the bolts, and almost directly saw the fatal flaw in my design. I realized that the holes didn't even fit the bolts I had bought, so I had to drill new ones. Then I discovered that the holes didn't align, so my metal angle basically became Swiss cheese. I like cheese. I even love cheese probably more than my girlfriend, but not in my sound panels. The design looked fine on paper, and I thought that when I put insulation inside it, it would hold itself, but it twisted like spaghetti. Like it twisted if I sneezed near it. Even with tight machine bolts and nylon nuts, it felt really fragile, and making everything flush enough just not to poke through the fabric or look really bad or weird would have been a nightmare. Even though it was really cheap, the time and effort were not worth it. It was a you have what you pay situation, but with 10 times the effort. So I took the L, packed the metal away, and decided, okay, back to wood, old school, reliable, and not bendy. Here's where things started working. I bought 14 planks of 4 inches wide, 6 feet long, and 3/4 inch thick, knotty pine boards. Why this wood? It was the cheapest. Why those dimensions? Well, I bought the cheapest soundproofing insulation I could find, and it was 15 inches wide, 4 feet long, and 3.5 inch thick. So basically matched the thickness, and I could easily put those planks in my car. At around $6.50 Canadian each, they were the cheapest, most beautiful planks of wood I could find in stock. Quick tip for you, be careful when buying them, as some can be bent and your sound panel won't be straight. I paired those planks with some sturdy brackets. They cost really more than smaller ones, but for rigidity it's night and day. Then I bought hooks, fabrics, and started building proper frames. And people, the difference was night and day. Wood frames took way less time, it's sturdier, cleaner, and still light enough to hang with just a couple of hooks onto my drywalls. I built 4 big panels and 5 smaller triangular ones. By the way, if you're enjoying this kind of content where I test, fail, and build stuff so you don't have to, make sure to subscribe and like the video. A lot of new people have joined the channel recently, so seriously, thank you all so much. It means a ton and it really helps me making bigger and better projects. Alright, now let's see how I built those panels. Before starting, always make a design and measure what you bought. I'm using paint because it does not have to be good, but you'll save yourself from starting your project and in the middle of it realize that you didn't really buy the right dimensions of wooden planks. Don't ask me how I know that. So we have 6-foot planks and 4-foot insulations. That means that we'll use 3 insulation per big panel, which also means 30 inches between the panels. For the smaller panels, 1 block of insulation is clearly enough, and with the length of the wall, I'll be making about 5 of them. Building those sound panels is super straightforward, thanks to the materials we used. As I'm making 2 different types, I'll first talk about the big ones, then the smaller triangular ones. First, you take 3 wood planks, cut them to size, make a rectangle, and screw them together with the brackets. I found it easier to screw the brackets onto the smaller pieces first, then screwing the entire thing onto the longer pieces of wood. Check if it's sturdy and fill the inside with insulation. For the triangular panels, 6 foot divided by 3, because it's a triangle, is 2 foot. So I had to cut them in 3 equal pieces. Quick tip for you, I would strongly suggest to pre-drill the holes where you'll put the screws and already start screwing, as it's gonna be way easier to put everything together if you're by yourself. Again, check if it holds up and put the insulation. Once your frames are done, remove the insulation you just put, cover it with fabric and staple it in the back. Try to make it pretty tight, as it's gonna help the insulation to hold. Put the insulation back in and you should be putting fabric at the back. If those panels would be stuck against the wall, it wouldn't be a problem to have them open back, but as I'll explain later, it's way better to space them from the wall so the fiberglass would be open to the element and your lungs open to the fiberglass. And we don't want fiberglass in our lungs. So close the back with some leftover fabric. It doesn't have to be perfect, as it's just gonna be facing the wall. It just has to cover the insulation enough. And that's it. It looks good, it works well, more on that later, and it's so satisfying to see what you made lined up on the wall. Now, I'm still renting this apartment, so my goal was to keep everything lightweight and easy to remove. I used rubberized hooks so I could hang everything without massive holes in the walls. Although I may have messed up and drilled a few big holes anyway, but that's a story for another video. If you're directly hanging your hooks on the drywall, I'd suggest not touching anything once they are in place. I sometimes touch the left panel with my feet because they're pretty close to my desk, and one hook fell from the ceiling after just a few weeks because of that. I guess if you really do not have the possibility of making holes, just place them on the ground. Buy and cut a cheap gym mat to place under the panels, and it will do 90% of the job. For the triangles, I just used painting hangers, and it was perfectly fine. If you'd like me to do a deep dive tutorial explaining in detail how to build all of this, express yourself in the comment below and subscribe. Now, let's talk about the money, because that's where this build gets crazy. Here is what the big panels cost me. Those prices are in Canadian dollars, by the way, so keep that in mind. For the big panels, I'd say the difficulty was easy and I used those materials. 3 woods for $20, 4 brackets for $14, 3 insulation for $6.5, 4 large hooks for $5.5, and 4 meters of fabric for $10. That means that each one was 56.16 Canadian dollars to make, and I built 4 of them, so that's about $225 total. For the small panels, it was harder to make than the big ones, but also way cheaper. Only 1 wood, 1 insulation, 2 small hooks, and 1 meter of fabric. So each small triangular panel cost $12.61, and I made 5, so that's another $63. In total, I spent $288 Canadian for 9 fully custom panels that fit my exact needs. Now, if I bought professional ones of the same size, we're talking $200 to $300 each for the big ones and $80 to $130 each for the small ones, it would have cost me $1,200 to almost $2,000 easily. So yeah, I basically saved over $1,500 and learned a lot in the process, mostly what not to do first. I also still have some leftover insulation, wood and materials that I can just use for later projects. I also didn't count the screws, as the box of 100 was like $6, and the staples, as I really didn't use much. Are they perfect? Clearly not. If you look closely, they have a ton of imperfections, but they clearly are a wow factor when people enter the studio. And you feel such a big sentiment of pride telling them that you made them yourself. It's amazing. Do they work? I don't know. Maybe if I've put some footage from before. I don't really know if I'm going to have the time in this video to start the sound panels. And now you hear a bit of improvement? I sure do, but feel free to tell me in the comment section. Here is the finished setup. 2 big colored panels behind the desk and the speakers. 1 black panel next to the DJ booth to help control the lighting. And the extra one at the bottom of the background to fill the space. I installed the triangles up there so that they would be visible when live streaming or making content in general, and if I can say so myself, they look pretty sharp. I immediately noticed a difference with the sound. Way less echo and reverb, better clarity in the highs and the mids, tighter bass, and my voice sounds so much better when recording. It finally feels like a real studio and not a bedroom. You're probably wondering why some are spaced from the walls and others not. Well, that's a feature. It's a matter of material change. When you space your panels from the wall, it acts as double its area, as the sound goes through the air, into the insulation first time, back into the air, bounces off the wall, goes back through the panel and the air before entering your ears. This means that for the same area, sound waves go twice into the insulation, acting as twice its area. For the ones stuck onto the walls, the sound wave just go from the air to the insulation, bounces from the wall inside the insulation, and back in the air. It's basically a cheat code to have better performances without putting 3 times as many panels. The only problem with this method is that it takes a ton of space. Space that I don't really have in the DJ booth corner, that's why they are all stuck to the wall. We also had a guest sleeping here because it's still a bedroom, and he said that it was almost creepy as it's so quiet in here now. Now, there is still the floating echo problem. There is a lot of floating echo, if you can hear it. Like the sound that it's making with the wow, it's like almost like a guitar, if you can hear it. I think I'm gonna try to make you listen what I mean. For this, I would need to either put thick carpet or put something on the ceiling. That's when I found some second-hand sound panels on Facebook Marketplace. For super cheap. I'm talking $50 Canadian for 10 sound panels. They're old looking for sure, some were also completely destroyed, but I managed to sell half of them for more than what I paid. So basically, I made a profit on those. Cost me time, but that's the deal. And that will be part of the next update. For now, my hand is still injured, so I can't really finish installing everything. That's why this one is on the floor. But hey, that's just part of the journey, and it still helps with the floating echoes. Building a studio is never a one-day thing. It's progress, piece by piece, screw by screw, and mistake by mistake. This was my DIY sound panel experiment, one that started with metal and chaos and ended up with a wooden trophy. If you're planning to make your own panels, do it. It's honestly fun, my girlfriend helped me along the way, and it's a fun activity to do with your partner or with friends. You will learn a lot, plus you'll save a crazy amount of money. You could even make them and sell them for a bit of extra money to finance this crazy stuff. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like, get subscribed, and tell me in the comment section below if you would like me to DIY other stuff. I'm Veldema, and remember, be creative, be inventive, and keep DIYing. See ya! Aluminium angles. Aluminium.